Hi guys, I Aziz welcome you to CoedMaster, and in this video I will explain how generics works with inheritance and subtypes. So guys, if you wanted to be good at generics, then it is essential to know how generic works with inheritance and subtypings. So please make sure to watch this video till the end. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Alright guys, let's begin this video. So guys, let's see this example. So let's say I am creating an object of class object, okay? Object is equal to new object, okay? Now I am going to create an object of type integer. So let's say integer is equal to new integer. So here we have two objects, one is of type object and one is of type integer. So if I ask you that, can I assign an instance of type integer to a variable of type object, then what would be your answer? So let's see it. So obviously we can assign the instance of type integer to the variable of type object, and there is not an issue. Why is it so? Because object is a supertype of integer and integer is a subtype of object, and in Java object is the superclass of all the classes. And according to Liskov substitution principle, so whenever we are expecting an object of some type, then we can always provide an object of subtype of that type. So here integer is a subtype of object, right? So I think this is clear to you. Now let's see another example. Let's say we have one method and this method is accepting an object of type number, okay? So let's call this method. Now what would you think? Are we allowed to pass an instance of integer and instance of double? Let's see it. So let's pass instance of integer. So integer dot value of 1. Okay. So it is not throwing an error, which means we are allowed to pass an object of integer into this method. Let's copy this code and now let's pass an instance of double. Okay. Let's make it 1.1. So still we are allowed to pass an instance of double into this method. So what does it mean? It means we are allowed to pass an instance of all the classes, which is a subclass of number class. So let's see the source code of number class, double class and integer class. So here you will see that number is an abstract class, and if you go to integer class, you can see that integer class is extending number class. And if you go to double class is also extending number class, which means double class and integer class is a child class of number class, which is why we are allowed to pass an instance of integer and double. So far so clear, okay? Now let's take this challenge to next level. So here we have one box class, okay? And this is a generic class. It has one method to set the size of this box, okay? So let's create an instance of box class, box of type number, okay? Let's give it a name, box is equal to new box, okay? Now let's call box dot set size. Now this set size is expecting an instance of number. So can we pass an instance of integer? Let's see it. Integer dot value of, put it 1. We are allowed. Now let's try one more time. Are we allowed to pass an instance of double here? Yeah, obviously we are allowed. So which means that in this method, if we have box of type number, so which means we are allowed to pass an instance of integer and instance of double in the set size method of this class. So far so clear. This is also clear to you. Now let's make it more challenging. Now if we have a method and let's say this method is accepting an instance of box of type number, okay? Now if we call this method, let's say some method. Now if I ask you that what type of argument this method accepts, then what would be your answer? So by looking at the signature of this method, we can assume that this method allows an argument of type box of type number. So what does that mean? Does it mean that you can pass an object of box of type integer, or you can pass an instance of box of type double? If your answer is this, then my friend, your answer is absolutely wrong. You cannot pass an instance of box of type integer or double. Let me show you. So if you pass an object of box of type integer, let's say integer it will simply not allow you to pass this instance into this method. You can see here it is throwing an error that the required type is box of number and the provided type is box of integer. Now let's try with double. Okay, so let's replace this. So let's replace this integer with double. Still you are not allowed. Now you might be thinking that why we are not allowed to pass an instance of box of type integer and instance of box of type double. Here is the catch, and the catch is the box of type integer is nowhere related with box of type double. Although box and box are same, both are same class, but as both the classes are generic and we have passed the different type parameter into this classes, into this object, which makes both the object as different object. Let's understand this example with this diagram. So previously we were allowed to pass integer in place of number. And why is it so? Because integer is a subclass of number, right? Now in case of box of number and box of integer is not a subclass of box of number, right? Both box and number and box of integer has no direct relationship at all, regardless of number and integer is related to each other, because integer is a subclass of number, but it doesn't mean box of integer is a subclass of box of number. In case of box of number and box of integer, the direct parent class of box of number and box of integer is object, right? So which means if I write object over here, then it will allow me to pass an object of box of type integer and an object of box of type double. But as we do not have object over here we have box of number, then we are only allowed to pass box of number into this method. Now let's verify it. So let's create a box of type number. Now it will not throw an error. Okay, the error is gone and we are allowed to pass instance of box of number. So guys, this is how generics works with inheritance and subtyping. Always remember this fact that whenever you have a generic class with different type parameters, then it doesn't mean that they both are same. They both are different and the direct parent of both the classes is object. So I hope the concept of inheritance and subtyping using generics is clear to you. This is all from my side for this video. If you learned something valuable from this video, then please hit the like button in order to make YouTube algorithm happy. Please subscribe to this channel and don't forget to click the bell icon so my friend, you never miss any upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.